Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, today I'm going to be breaking down some film from Justin Herbert in their season opener against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm excited to do this video for one of the reasons because one of my subscribers asked a while back for me to do a video on Justin Herbert, and I just had never got around to it. But thinking about this game that just happened, I was like, man, let me go ahead and go break down some film from that game, so I can get that out there for him. So, man, I'm sorry I made you wait this long before I finally put it out there. But, man, we're going to jump straight into this video. So we started off with one of my favorite situations, which is red zone, and gotta have it. If you watch my videos consistently, you always hear me talk about gotta have it situations, and those are normally third downs and fourth downs. But when you get to the red zone, in my opinion, I think that every down in the red zone is a gotta have it, whether it's first down, second down, third down, or fourth down. Whenever you get down there, man, you want to put up points, point blank, period. A lot of times the deciding factor in games won and lost is the success that you had in the red zone. So right here, you got a 3rd and 3. And obviously when you get down in the red zone, the easiest way to the touchdown is running the ball in because you don't have to worry about trying to pass in those tight, congested spaces, just like how they do right here. So they pretty much just run a bunch formation. It looked like they kind of just run a mesh concept, which is just running guys across the formation to try to make defenders pick themselves off or rub themselves off. And that's exactly what happens right here. They run a bunch formation. You got the linebacker number 23, I can't think of his name, who was kind of just sitting there watching Herbert. And then you got the guy, the receiver on the outside. I think that's number 1, who worked from the right side of the formation back across. And he ended up running the corner into the linebacker right there, and he falls down, and right there he's just wide open. And Justin Herbert just does a good job at keeping his eyes downfield. You could tell that he probably was leading to try to run and get the first down or possibly get the touchdown because the lane was there. But obviously, once he seen that number 1 was free, he pretty much, threw an off balance pass now. But look at the precision on this pass, though, man. Even with him being off balance, he didn't get a chance to set his feet, and he didn't really get a chance to aim his shoulder at it. He just kind of really just threw just off of pure arm strength. And that was a pretty accurate throw considering that he was off balance. Then you got Omar and Hampton right there that was underneath trying to dive and catch the ball too. But like I said, man, just good job at just keeping his eyes downfield. And that's ultimately what it comes down to as a quarterback, especially when you got one that can maneuver and that's as athletic as Herbert, somebody who can run if the situation calls for it. But a benefit of that is just keeping your eyes downfield, because more times than not, once you leave and once you step up and become a threat running, a lot of defenses become undisciplined. And more times than not, you'll have defenders that'll be willing to give up a touchdown to maybe stop a 3 or 4 yard run. So, just good execution. All right, so we got a 1st and 10 play right here. So, when you're dealing with Spags, when you're playing the Chiefs, that Spags sends some exotic blitzes. I mean, we see the blitz that he sent in the championship game last year against Buffalo Bills. They caught Josh Allen off guard. Josh Allen was thinking that he was going to be sending a blitz up the middle. The middle linebacker dropped back, and he sent the blitz from the outside with the corners. So you just never really know. So you got to kind of have your head on a swivel right here when you're playing Spags. So right here, it kind of looks like Spagnuum was maybe in a it looked like they might have sent a 7-man blitz. So like they were pretty much playing man coverage and just sending some extra pressure to try to get some penetration up front and to try to get Herbert and throw him off of his square. Herbert does a good job at, obviously, for one, I would say not just him. I would say the offensive line does a good job at obviously identifying that, okay, we might be getting pressure from here, we might be getting pressure from there. So they know pretty much how to adjust their pass protection based off of what they're thinking that they're seeing. And then you see you see everybody comes crashing down. You see the linebackers, you see the some of the safeties, and then you see the corner even on the outside. I'm not quite sure if he was dropping down to come try to get the running back coming out the backfield, or maybe the tight end if he would have released his way, because he dropped down, and once he realized Herbert was throwing the ball, he kind of just bounced kind of like towards the outside. So Herbert just kind of rolls out to try to buy himself some time. The tight end does a good acting job with showing that as if he was going to be blocking. And like I say, more times than not, when defenders identify that you as a tight end or a receiver or whoever is not eligible in terms of going out for a route, once they identify that you're blocking, more times than not, they're going to overly pursue and kind of just let you go past them because they're trying to stop the run. And then that's how you're able to get back behind the defense, kind of like how he does right here. So he does a good job at just being able to roll out the pocket to buy himself some time, being able to stop, get his feet set, throw that ball on the money, and give his tight end some opportunities with yards after the catch. Now, I know some people might be looking at that pass and be like, oh, man, that was just a simple pass. Anybody can make that pass. And true enough, especially in the field, you're probably right. More times than not, you got a lot of guys that can make that pass. Now, the importance of making those type of passes is for this reason right here. So, obviously, as a quarterback, you want to be accurate. You want to be able to put the ball right there on the money because you want to minimize the distance that a defender can close in to try to make a play on the ball carrier, whether it be trying to break up the pass, whether that be just stopping him from more yards that he could have possibly gained with a run after the catch. And then also too, whenever you're playing up, when you're going against defenses like, let's say, defenses that rally to the ball, right? That's getting 11 hats to the ball every single play. You know that when you're dealing with a defense like that, you don't necessarily have time to really make moves. You got to catch the ball and get upfield. So the quicker that I can get the ball to my receiver and he can catch it and get upfield, the more capability we have at being able to make some explosive plays with yards after the catch. So right here, you got the Chargers. They lined up in another tight formation. The tight formation meaning that everything is more so condensed down together. And a lot of times, as a defense, you got to kind of try to identify why you run that. And more times than not, it's probably going to be the routes that's going to be ran out of this. Is probably going to be something attacking vertically down the field, or it's going to be something trying to attack the outside like they do in this out route right here with the tight end. So this was just amazing pass protection, man. Just look at all the time that Herbert had for this play to be able to develop. You know what I mean? He had a whole bunch of time, and keep in mind that this was a 5-man pressure. You see the 4-down lineman you got, but then you see number 23, the linebacker on the outside. He's trying to he's actually acting as a blitzer. Now, granted, he's messed up on the outside with that left tackle, and he just pretty much puts him on his butt and just eradicates him from the play. So now you just got a normal 4-man pressure. Like I said, Herbert does a good job at just standing tall in the pocket, keeping his eyes downfield, trying to see what's down there. Obviously, based off of the formations, because you see his eyes immediately went over there. He pretty much had an idea exactly where he wanted to go with the ball with the out route with this tight end. But just look at the zip on this pass right here, though, man. Just look at it. This dude put some spin on this pass, man. And once again, it goes back to being able to close that distance, man. Like I say, you want to be able to get that ball from point A to point B in a very timely manner, but then you also don't want to put your pass catcher in a compromising position. This is already a difficult catch in a sense because you're going towards the out of bounds line, running at a pretty high rate, right? So the last thing that I want to do as a quarterback is either overthrow you, for one, or underthrow you and make you have to come back. And not only that, you stand a chance of having that ball picked off, because now the corner, if he's in the trail position like how he is right here, if you want to throw that, he can just kind of come underneath and pick it off, or even, you know what I mean? So it's a lot that can go wrong with that. So, to have a target that's not standing still in the tight end that's running at a pretty good pace, headed out of bounds with just a little bit of room from where he's at to the sideline, he just does a good job at being able to, zip that thing in there. Tight end was able to secure the catch, get both feet in bounds. So right here, you got them operating out of a tight formation again. It looked like more times than not so far that we've seen LA lined up, it has been in those tight formations, man. But I know that this is a video kind of just studying film on Justin Herbert. But obviously, man, it takes a few things for things to work out in order for Justin Herbert to be able to do what he needs to do. For one, it takes blocking up front. And for two, it takes guys that can be able to separate away from defenses on that second level. But, man, everything starts up front, man. Just look at all this time. And, I mean, it's not just one play. You got this play. You got the play previous to it. And even really, if you want to be honest, you kind of got to play in the red zone. I mean, they was able to buy him some time to allow for that to develop. So, man, that was the theme of so far. What I'm seeing is just him having a whole bunch of time. Now, I'm not quite sure if the Chiefs defensive line is just that bad or if the Chargers offensive line is just that good, man, because he's just standing back there tall. Like, they're not getting any push up front. He has forever in the day for Lad McConkey to eventually separate and become open. And he just does a good job at, once again, like I said, man, putting that ball right there on the money and just trying to give him some opportunities to be able to make guys miss after he catch the ball. All right, man. So we got another one of my favorite situations, man. We gotta have it. Like I say, man, when you get into the red zone, you want to be able to score points. Every down when you get into the red zone is a gotta have it, regardless of whether it's first down, second down, third down, or fourth down. But specifically for this play right here, we got another 3rd and 3. We got them lined up in another tight formation, bunch formation, got everything kind of compressed up together. And like I said, man, there's a multitude of reasons for it. As you've seen on the earlier touchdown where when they ran it, they utilized it to be able to get those defenders to run into each other. So a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with teams that play a lot of man coverage, or if it's situational, you know that this is what they like to go to. Third down, you know, more times than not, teams got their bread and butter defensive coverage that they like to go through. So film study kind of helps you out with that. So it really looks like, man, it was just kind of some blown coverage on the back end. I mean, if you look at the corner on the outside over here, number 27, he stumbles into the flats, and it's like he was retreating and going to try to go guard somebody that was already down the field that was being guarded by somebody else. So you had somebody releasing out the backfield too. Not saying it would have resulted in anything significant, but I'm just saying there was option there. So I think that it was just I think that it might have just been poor communication. When you look at the top of the screen right here, you got, who is that? Lad McConkey, and you got Keenan Allen lined up, and it looks like they, you know, they run kind of it's like they tried to run some type of pick play, but you got the corner who jammed Lad McConkey right here. He kind of puts himself out of position, and now Keenan Allen just runs into the empty void right there. Justin Herbert does a good job at, you know, like I said, once again, for one, pass protection holding up, but for two, keeping his eyes down the field, being patient and riding that thing out. And just look at the throw, man. He's kind of drifting to the back, drifting backwards as he throws that, trying to allow it to develop a little bit more. So just look at how he's drifting back, man, and he was able to put that thing on the money. Just watch it once again. He's drifting back, and just throws it. It's not like he was drifting back, and was able to get set and then throw the ball. He's drifting back, and just throws the ball, and he put that thing right there on the money, right between the 1 and the 3 for a touchdown. All right, so right here, you got a 1st and 10. So this is actually one of the times that we actually seen them kind of spread it out a little bit more. So far, we've seen them just being tight and condensed down. So right here, once again, man, Spag does Spags things. He sent a blitz at him. I think that was a 7-man pressure, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So actually it was a 6-man pressure. Now, Boyd Bolden, I'm not quite sure if he was a guy that was going to be coming in, or if he was just going to take the running back. If the running back would have released from the backfield, you see that the running back stayed on the back end and was able to block the other guy from the opposite side. So I think that once he declared as a blocker, Bolden kind of was just floating around, and I guess he was going to try to help out with the tight end who was eventually start working his way back across the formation, doing exactly what we've seen him do, starting off as a blocker and then releasing. But right here, Kansas City does a good job of not falling forward right there. But where they hurt him at on the back end is when they send him in motion. They send McConkey over to the opposite side, and number 21 was kind of going into motion, trying to follow McConkey. But, you know, he got caught in a very vulnerable position in terms of leverage wise. And number 1 just runs kind of a drag route across the middle. You see right here, and just based off of leveraging, he kind of just had him beat. And once again, man, Justin Herbert makes another off balance throw. Obviously, I think that he did a good job at identifying exactly when Spags was dialing up those blitzes, and he just kind of would drift away from it, like how he did. He kind of just drifts into the backfield, and then he just slightly edges over. And once again, man, he just puts that thing right there on the money for number 1 to be able to catch it, and really just be able to catch the ball and just kind of flow into the end zone. Taking a look at this throw again, man. And like I said, man, these are off balance throws. He's not getting his feet set. He's just being able to let that thing rip. And I think that when you have a quarterback who has an arm that's that strong, that can be able to throw those off balance throws like that, it makes it very difficult for a defense, because more times than not, most defenses, especially when you're sending blitzes, you want to make things uncomfortable. You want to get that quarterback out the pocket. You want to prevent him from being able to get his feet set and shoulder square at the target and throw the ball. You want to try to make him throw those off balance throws. But when you got a guy like Justin Herbert who can consistently make those throws accurately, that's a recipe for disaster for you. All right, man. So for the final play right here, man, we got a gotta have it situation, man. This is a gotta have it situation, man. You looking in 3rd and long, somewhat 3rd and forever, man. And you would have thought that in a 3rd and long situation like this, that Spags probably would have dialed up some type of exotic blitz to try to be able to put some pressure on Herbert and make him try to make him make a quick throw and get the ball out of his hands pretty quickly. But they actually don't. They just send a 4-man rush. And it looks like they're in man coverage, because you're seeing everybody manned up and everybody's eyes is on their receiver. And obviously, man, when you're dealing with quarterbacks that can run, man coverage is somewhat something you probably don't want to live in unless you spy on a quarterback, because more times than not, the DB's eyes are going to be on the man that they're holding. So if you got guys that's running vertically down the field, their eyes are not going to be looking back to see Herbert running, especially if the receiver is in tune and is aware of the situation, and he just keeps running straight down the field. He's going to pull him farther and farther and farther along. If you watch my video video when I was breaking down film on Patrick Mahomes on one of those plays. It was something, it's from the same game. Matter of fact, it was a similar play like that to where when they was in man coverage, the receiver just kept on running. I think it was Juju Smith, and just pulled the DB farther along until he finally realized, okay, got his eyes back. At that point, Patrick Mahomes had already ran for the first down, just like how they did right here with Justin Herbert. So he did a good job at running whenever it was needed the most, because most of the other plays that we seen that, you know, it was just him being in the pocket, and if anything, just kind of, you know, stepping out to the side just a tad bit to buy a little bit more time and to try to escape the blitz and being there and just making some pretty accurate off balance throws. So man, just what a way to end the game, what a way to start the season off. Obviously beating Kansas City, and he put on a masterclass performance while doing so, man. So I would say, man, this was one of my times that I had a chance to kind of just dive into him a little bit more. I will say this, man. I do look forward to watching more film on Justin Herbert, man, because Justin Herbert is a much better quarterback than kind of what I give him credit for. I know I hear a lot of people like LaShawn McCoy, Shady McCoy talk about him. One of my buddies, he talk about how he likes him too. So it's a lot of things like about him, especially, you know, just the eye test. You know, he passed the eye test, you know, big 6'4", 6'5", corner, strong arm. So obviously just off that alone, he passes it. My thing is, does he have the IQ aspect of it? You know, being able to come to the line, identify what defenses are in, being able to make those pre-snap reads, being able to make those post-snap reads, just holding on to the ball, not turning the ball over in those gotta-have-it situations, man, not hurting the team in a lot of ways, you know. So that's my biggest question mark. Does he have that ability, and can he do that consistently, and can he do it when it matters most? But all the physical and tangible, man, is there. Like I said, man, I was watching this guy make a whole bunch of off-balance throws, and I'm talking about he was making these throws. These weren't under throws off balance. These was off-balance throws, hitting the receivers right there in between the numbers. So that was very impressive. So, you know, I was excited for what I saw. So I look forward, like I say, to studying more film on him, and I will do some deeper dives later on down the line. But man, if you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man, smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, man, make sure you subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure that you got that notification bell turned on, and where you be notified every time I upload, and I'll see y'all in the next video.